Greetings and welcome to the channel. So right now it is emergency patch version 2.0.2. I think that's what they're calling it. So let's just jump right in. This is definitely going to be a long video based on what I can see. So hopefully you guys stick around. So basically the typical stuff, the time, the date, we don't need all that. We already are aware that the download replays are not going to be available. Jumping into this, so the rank match and quick match, adjusting matching specifications, adjusted matching to make it easier to pair with opponents whose highest ranked character is closer to your own. As a result of this adjustment, it may take more time to find an appropriate opponent. Interesting. Okay, I can see how that could be useful for people that's really taking ranked very seriously, that wants to kind of grow and all that stuff. So I can definitely see that. Then we got something for Tekken Ball. I never really played Tekken Ball, but I have fond memories of it back in, I think it was like Tekken 3, if I'm not mistaken. Fix the return behavior of certain moves that allow the ball to be kept in the air. Playable characters, fixes. Okay, so we got some character fixes. All right, so let's see what we got here. The maximum health value has been increased from 180 to 200. Okay, so I had an idea after I uploaded that video that they were not going to increase that drastically. So basically, okay, so now every character now has a maximum pool of 200 points of damage. Accordingly, the threshold for activating rage has also been raised. Since the rage activation threshold is based on 23.5% of a character's total health, the increase in maximum health will change the rage trigger point from 43 to 47 HP. As a result of this change, rage may now last slightly longer than before, and there may be more situations where it's harder to KO an opponent in rage. Since this could lead to more frequent comeback scenarios, the baseline activation threshold of 23.5% is under review and may be adjusted in a future update. Note, this change does not apply to the story mode and I guess basically the single player modes and Tekken Ball. Interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. I look forward to kind of putting that into practice and see how that's going to play out. But they're going to be, monitoring it and all that. So in terms of the throws, of course, throws, everybody loves throws. So in the previous update, adjustments were made to ensure that throws would still offer some advantage to the attacker, even if the throw was broken, based on the idea that throws are less effective against opponents who can react and tech after seeing the throw animation. However, considering that throw breaking is a high-level technique reflecting a player's practice and reaction speed, it was deemed excessive to impose a penalty on the defender for successfully breaking a throw. As previously announced, the following change has been implemented. The mechanic where the defender receives 5 recoverable damage upon a successful throw break has been removed. Honestly, it should have never been implemented in the first place, but hey, at least, it's been changed. Okay, so heat engagers. After a hit, when transitioning into a running motion, the opponent's recovery time has been reduced by 8 frames. Oh, okay. Changing the frame advantage from plus 17 to plus 9. I think this change definitely is in line with what I read previously in the last video when they said that they're wanting to maintain the advantage of the person who who activated the heat engager, but they also want to give the defensive player some options. Because at plus 17, there's really nothing you're going to be able to do. So I definitely like this change right here. Now for the heat dash, changed post-hit aerial combo damage scaling from 70% to basically a 10% reduction, from 70 to 60. Changed the recoverable damage inflicted when performing a heat dash after forcing the opponent to block a move from 7 to 2. Note, due to this change in aerial combo scaling, a discrepancy has been identified between some sample combos and actual combo damage. This will be addressed in a future update. So basically people who rely on the easy mode, one button combo type, the easy mode combos, there's going to be some alterations there, I'm assuming. So the chip damage, this shit, in my opinion, needs to just be taken out the game, but let's see what they say. To reduce chip damage on block, the following adjustments have been made. Moves that do not normally deal chip damage to lessen the additional chip damage applied during heat. the chip damage scaling has been changed from 25% to 20%. As a result, chip damage from blocking heat smash attacks has been lowered overall. So that's a good change. Moves that deal chip damage by default. So, me using Raven, for instance, that would be like standing back 1, the elbow, standing back 3, moves like that already incur chip. So from here it says that those types of moves will have no additional chip damage applied during heat for those moves. Moves whose properties change in heat or moves that deal increased chip damage due to a character's specific heat system due to the revised chip damage calculation. Some moves were exhibiting excessive variance in chip damage. Balance adjustments have been made accordingly. Like for instance with Raven, even though it's not too practical, you could do while you're in heat, you could do back 1, go into Soul Zone, use Soul Zone 1+2. If you do that repeatedly, that can rack up a lot of chip damage. So stuff like that, and also that Alyssa cancerous bullshit, that's going to be, I'm glad that's been addressed. So in terms of key charging, in the previous update, adjustments were made to reduce the overwhelming impact of counter hit based offense. However, it has since been determined that combining charged attacks with elements like rage or stage gimmicks can lead to excessive and potentially match-ending damage in a single hit. As such, further rebalancing has been implemented. When a charged attack hits the opponent, the damage scaling on the first hit has been changed from 150 to 110. That is a massive change. Something like that is going to have a very significant impact on the overall game. And it may not be felt immediately, but over the course of the game, it will be much more effective moving forward. When you go from 150 to 110, that's significant. All right, so basically for wall stagger, moves that induce that state, in future Tekken 8 updates, the development team is committed to minimizing situations that lead to one-sided exchanges. Among these, moves that trigger a wall stagger on block were a particular concern. Such moves could easily create extreme advantage +10 or more when used near the wall, forcing the defending player into powerful mix-up situations without any opportunity to respond. To reduce these kinds of one-sided scenarios, the team has reviewed all wall stagger on block moves across all characters. Any move that previously created an advantage of +10 or greater on block will no longer trigger a wall stagger when blocked, and that is huge. Thank goodness, because I immediately just think of Jin players that would literally just run their little heat smash like gimmick. They have no intent of the move actually landing. They just want you to block and get smashed against the wall and get, you're like -1,000,000 on block. I'm glad that shit's done. Thank you. Note, specific affected moves are listed in the character-by-character adjustment details. And throw break fixed an issue where certain input combinations allowed players to break throws that should only be breakable with either one only or two only, effectively enabling breaks for both types of throws. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so those were some very good overall game mechanic changes. I definitely look forward to hopping in the lab and, trying them out myself. So let's just now hop on over to more character specific changes that they have going on now. Now, I have to admit, I do not own Anna, so a lot of this is going to be lost on me, but let's just read it through for those of you that do have Anna. So in update 2.0.2, Anna received both bug fixes and adjustments to certain moves, specifically for heat moves revolving 3 consecutive shots from Lovely Tom. I've dealt with that shit online from time to time. The return was deemed excessively high near the wall, so the opponent's behavior on hit and block has been adjusted. Additionally, considering the ongoing balanced direction of reducing chip damage in future updates, the amount of chip damage dealt during weakened state has also been reduced accordingly. Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, so what is this? 1, 2. Okay, what is this here? My eyes here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Okay, so here adjusted the opponent's behavior on final hit so that it is no longer triggers wall splat. Fixed an issue where the projectile would not fly straight forward and could unintentionally hit opponent's position to the side or behind. You know, every time I read these patch notes and I read about these bugs, I've never encountered them, but maybe it's a good thing because I would be like, what the hell is going on? And so during Chaos Judgment 3.2, adjusted the opponent's behavior on final hit so that it no longer triggers a wall splat. Fixed an issue where the projectile would not flow. Okay, so basically it's kind of like the same thing. All right, so running 3.2. Adjusted the opponent's behavior on final hit so it no longer triggers a wall splat. Oh wow, okay. Interesting. So she can no longer get a wall splat off of a running attack. Okay. I didn't even know that was a thing because I don't own Ana right now. During heat, what is this? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, and these other moves here, as you can see, forward, the running attack. Okay, in line with the overall adjustment policy, change the move so that it no longer triggers a wall stun when blocked by the opponent. Okay. All right, so fragile, whatever this is, reduce the additional. Oh, that's where she puts that debuff on you. Yeah, reduce the additional chip damage applied when blocking moves against opponents in a weakened state. Okay, so during Chaos Judgment 2-1, fix an issue where heat dashes could be performed after whiffing in specific situations. And while setting 1+2. Fix the bug where multi-hitting attacks with power crush properties would sometimes fail to be absorbed completely, resulting in the player being hit. And so her reversal fixed an issue where an action that should have been exclusive to certain characters could unintentionally be performed by all characters. Oh, okay. I think I saw that glitch. I actually thought it was a PC mod. I didn't even know that it was a real thing. I didn't want to believe that was real, but I'm glad it's gone now. Anyway, so fix the bug where unintended moves could be triggered by specific command inputs. And then we got, during pleasure time, change the opponent's behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. This change was made because the long period of unrecoverable time allowed for unblockable situations with sidesteps and axis shifting attacks. Adjusted the collision on hit to reduce instances of characters swapping positions near walls. Let's go on to Asuka. Only one change here. Okay. So I'm not going to even pronounce this. Let's just say it looks like this is her running attack, and her down back both punches. In accordance with the overall balance adjustments, the move no longer induces wall stagger when blocked by an opponent, by the opponent. Now let's turn our attention to Brian. So in version 2.0.0.2, Brian received a follow-up adjustment to the new move added in Season 2, Neo Grim Reaper during Snake Eyes while crouching down forward 3. While Neo Grim Reaper offers high reward on hit, it came with a very low risk when blocked despite being a low attack. As a result, the move became extremely useful during Snake Eyes activation or during heat, overshadowing other options. This led to a noticeable reduction in gameplay variety and player individuality. So basically, translation, this is fancy patch talk of saying Brian users were whoring that move out online with extreme prejudice. That's what that lets me know. So taking these points into account, we have decided to implement a preemptive adjustment to Brian's performance as part of a broader balanced direction planned for future updates. Okay. So looks like the change to that move in question. The opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced by 1 frame, and the advantage on block has been changed from -12 to -13. Okay, so now the move is -13. Okay, that's decent. I would say I haven't experienced the move firsthand, but it kind of almost sounds like a slap on the wrist. I don't know. I have to see it. I have to see it in action. The consumption of remaining heat has been changed from 210 to 300. Okay. So it sounds like you can't just use the move. You can't spam the move that as many times when you're in heat. Adjusted so that a counter hit no longer triggers a wall splat. That's pretty good. Definitely a nerf. And another nerf, it says here, during Snake Eyes forward, 1+2, successful attack reversal, and then we got 4-4-3 hold. In accordance to the overall, okay, so this is just another move that triggers, that will no longer trigger a wall splat, a wall stun. Okay, that's good. All right, so now for Claudio, it looks like just one change. Again, it's, okay, so, all right, so I can kind of skip that. All right, so Clive. In version 2, okay, so I'm just going to call this, I'm going to refer to this as version 2.2. Clive received behavior fixes along with a rebalancing of the new Season 2 move Staff of Judgment, which is forward, both punches, or 1+2. Staff of Judgment had long reach, allowed Clive to maintain offensive pressure even when blocked, and yielded high reward on counter hit. As a result, it diminished the utility of other moves and led to a reduction in gameplay diversity. So basically another move that Clive users were whoring out left and right. All right, so taking these points into consideration, we have decided to implement a preliminary adjustment to Clive's performance in line with the broader balancing direction planned for future updates. So forward, both punches, reduce the damage on counter hit from 60 to 50. The opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced by 1 frame, and the advantage on block has been changed from +4 to +3. Okay, that's okay. It's decent. It's not like it's +2. So being +3 is still very decent. Change the chip damage on block from 6 to 2. Now that's significant. That's significant. Yeah, I can see what they did. They gave a very small frame advantage nerf. So it's still viable as a frame advantage move, but it's not something that you can just, like for instance, you would be able to do the move, have your +3, take advantage of your frames, do the move again, and while you're blocking, you're not losing as much chip because they changed the chip from 6 to 2. So I kind of see the idea behind that. So during heat, okay, that's another thing we've been covering in terms of the general change of the no longer having the wall block stun. So Clive standing 1. Okay, so fixed an issue where inputting forward followed by 1 or left punch while running would prevent follow-up moves from being executed. Okay, so that's kind of like, I would say that's more like a character fix. So that's good for them. Now Devil Chin. Okay, so one change, a nerf. So basically the charge punch. Okay, so the charge punch naturally. So all those moves that, you block it, you get free wall frames, that's been nerfed. Okay, so Eddie. Looks like Eddie has a couple of changes here. So in accordance, okay, another wall stun thing. I'm just going to skip those from now on. All right, so up forward, both kicks. Adjusted opponent behavior when the first attack hits a downed opponent. This fix addresses an issue where unintended combos were possible against certain characters when hitting a downed opponent. Okay, so basically, I guess if you managed to find some crazy tech with Eddie that allowed this, I guess it's all gone now. You have to find some new tech. So at the start of the round, fix an issue where unintended behavior could occur. I think I've seen somebody post a video of that. I think where it looked like Eddie became Akuma and warped toward, I don't know. I never experienced it firsthand, but I've seen the video. So down 3, actually. Okay, change the opponent's behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. Okay, this change was made because the long period of unrecoverable time allowed for unblockable situations with sidesteps and axis shifting attacks. adjusted the collision on hit to reduce instances of characters swapping positions near walls. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so Fang is only one change, and that's just the wall situation. I'm not going to cover that. Same thing with Heihachi. Okay, so nothing new for Heihachi. Huarang, okay. Now this move was pretty impressive. I first seen a video of speed kicks running this move. Change the opponent's behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. This change was made because the long period of, okay, that sounds like the last thing I just read. So we'll skip past that. It's a behavioral change. All right. So now Jack. Oh, okay, so Jack rounds out the last portion of this. Make Some Noise could be performed as a follow-up from Jack's close-range core move 2-1, allowing him to easily create a highly advantageous situation simply by forcing the opponent to block. This made it difficult to counter, enabling Jack 8 to apply strong offensive pressure with minimal risk. Additionally, the move proved excessively powerful in terms of both combo damage and chip damage, prompting a need for rebalancing. Taking these into account, a preemptive adjustment has been implemented for Jack 8 to scale back the performance of the move in line with a broader balance policy planned for future updates. So basically, every way you can implement this move, now the move in question has changed from 30 damage to 20. Okay, that's very significant. The chip damage on block has been changed from 12 to 4. Holy smokes. All right, so the opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced by 3, and the advantage on block has been changed from +8 to +5. And the attack hitbox has been reduced to mitigate the unintended occurrence of hitting opponents who are behind you. I don't know how I feel about this because maybe it's just me, but it looks like the move still tracks you because maybe it's just on me, but when I was testing this move out in the lab, I could not sidestep that move at all. So maybe it's a tracking move and I don't know, but I do feel that move should be able to be stepped, in my opinion, because the animation of the move will not allow it to be a high. So I don't know. I'm going to have to test this out. But, being +5 versus +8 is definitely more manageable. Corrected an issue where the third input in the sequence could be executed 5 frames earlier than intended. Okay. So now during heat, fixed an issue in practice mode where the CPU would not perform certain ukemi after a down hit when set. Okay, so this is a bug fix. Okay, so that should help people that use Jack in the lab. Anyway, I'm actually very interested if you are using Jack 8 as your main character. I'm actually curious to see what you think of this change, actually. So, Jin. Okay, so as a result of the adjustments in version 2, during Zanshin 2 and during Zanshin 4, became major contributors to excessive combo damage. Additionally, the newly introduced running 3 into basically it's the running jump kick into the stance. I always thought it looked cool, but I felt it was going to be abusable. So basically, it granted him strong offensive continuity near the wall, enabling him to force one-sided pressure on opponents without reprieve. Taking these points into consideration, adjustments to Jin's performance have been implemented ahead for future updates in line with the overall balancing direction. So yeah, so it looks like this has been nerfed, the running 3 into the stance. The timing a move can be performed after transitioning into Zanshin has been delayed by 6 frames. And the frame advantage on block has been adjusted from +6 to +12 to +6. That is crazy. That is wild that for you landing a running attack and you would have that much plus. I didn't even know about that. Because I'm dealing with an annoying glitch on Xbox that's kind of preventing me from going online. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So during Zanshin 2, the damage has been nerfed from 25 to 20. And then I think basically it's the dive kick. The Zanshin 4, the opponent's behavior on down hit has been reverted to the previous, before the version 2 state to prevent follow-up attacks from connecting. Yeah, because I've seen a combo that main man Swede did where he would do a combo, bap, knock you down, do the dive kick, and then run up and do the little down punch. So it looks like that's done. Jin has enough as it is. I know he's a poster child of the game, but damn. During Zanshin, both kicks and okay, so these are just the wall splat removal, whatever, the plus frames. So down forward 2-4 expanded the hurt box, alleviating situations where certain attacks would whiff. Okay, that's good. All right, so Jun has quite a few things going on here. So Jun received a rebalancing of her Izumo stance-related moves that were previously strengthened in Season 2. Before Season 2, Jun's Izumo stance had limited effectiveness in breaking standing block, making it a situational and underutilized option. To address this, various enhancements were introduced in version 2. However, these changes unintentionally pushed the stance's strength beyond intended levels, creating balance issues. The startup of the low attack during Izumo 4-1 was sped up in version 2, making it nearly impossible to block a reaction and difficult to evade, even with sidesteps, resulting in an overwhelmingly strong move. The mid attack during Izumo 3 already had moderate tracking against sidesteps, and with only a few options, Jun could consistently beat defensive choices with minimal risk. The new Season 2 move, I am not going to try to pronounce that, during Meyer, anyway, you Jun players know what this is, was highly powerful, enabling Jun to force her Izumo offense onto opponents with little counterplay. Due to these factors, Jun was able to repeatedly pressure opponents from Izumo stance in ways that left little room for effective counterplay. In light of the overall game balance direction, we have implemented early adjustments to tone down her performance. With these changes, our aim is to preserve the core offensive strength of Izumo while making it more manageable for opponents to respond, ultimately promoting deeper and more balanced mind games. You see, I want to say this about Jun. I just look at the character and I see a character, honestly, that just didn't need that many buffs, in my opinion. Between her running, I think it was running 1+2 and then running 2, it was basically she has a high and a low attack that are both plus on block. And I'm like, come on, man. So I'm glad that these changes are being implemented. I'm pretty sure Jun mains are still going to be putting the rest of us in the blender and mixing us up left and right, but at least this makes it a little bit more manageable. Standing 1-2-2, reduce the recovery time inflicted on the opponent by 2 frames, and the advantage on block has been changed from +6 to +4. Okay, so that includes up 2 and forward 3-2. That's a nerf. And then during Izumo 3, which I think I spoke about, but the downward hitbox of the first attack has been reduced, making it easier to sidestep. Izumo 4, another nerf, the tracking performance has been reduced, making it easier to sidestep. The startup of the attack has been changed from 19-20 to 19. With the above adjustment, when Jun uses this move from a +4 situation, the opponent can easily evade it by sidestepping to the right. Okay, that's good to know in terms of just the matchup knowledge. I guess this is another stance from Meyer, 1+2. Reduce the recovery time inflicted on the opponent by 2 frames, and the advantage on block has been changed from +6 to +4. The behavior on counter hit has been aligned with that of normal hits. Interesting. So are they trying to say that there is no counter hit property to this move? If I'm mistaken, it sounds like they removed any counter hit animation. Kind of like what they did with Jin's Scourge, down 2, or counter hit, where it just hits you. There's no real counter hit anything to it. I guess I'll check it out. Izumo 4 expanded the hurt box, alleviating situations where certain attacks would whiff. Okay. Neutral. Zuya, nothing really changed. Basically just a system-wide change for every character that has these type of moves. So moving on. King, oh my god, this character should be nerfed into the ground. So let's see what they have. So King received behavior fixes along with a rebalancing of his Season 2 added move Stampede Crush, which is 3-2-2, and you can also charge the move. Stampede Crash has proven to be highly versatile in regular match play, with its third hit when held, enabling powerful offensive pressure via a transition into Jaguar Sprint. You know, since now they made King a fucking track star now. Additionally, it became particularly dominant tool in wall combos, allowing players to repeatedly apply this strong offense after launching opponents onto the wall. Taking these points into account, King has received a preemptive balance adjustment in line with a broader update policy, aiming to scale back the move's strength ahead of future updates. Thank you. Delete that nonsense, please. Anyway, so the second hit so the hit no longer connects as a natural combo after the first hit lands. Thank you very much. The hitbox of the third hit has been reduced, making it harder to connect against opponents in a down state. Now the charged version reduced the tracking ability of the third hit. I didn't even know this shit even tracked. Jesus Christ, man. Reduce the hitbox of the third hit, making it harder to connect against opponents in a down state. Okay, so now for his track star stuff. During the Jaguar Sprint 3, the powered up version, in accordance with, we'll skip that. King down back both punches and 2, fixed an issue where recoverable gauge would not regenerate after transitioning to Jaguar Sprint with both kicks following a heat activation animation. Okay, so that's kind of like a character bug situation. Fix an issue where transitioning to Jaguar Step with back both kicks would incorrectly trigger the move with the wrong command. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so Kuma. All right, everybody's favorite bear that does a ton of chip damage. All right, so while rising 1-2, hold max in accordance. Okay, so we can skip that. So the first two options we can skip. All right, so during hunting bear stance, both kicks, I think that's like the mid shoulder move. Fix an issue where the opponent's behavior upon activating heat dash during an airborne hit did not match the intended behavior. All right, so quarter circle forward 2-1. Fix an issue where heat dash could be activated on whiff under certain conditions. What? Wow, okay, that's crazy. During heat, fixed a bug where damage scaling and knockback distance were being reset on hit. Note, due to this fix, discrepancies between certain sample combos and actual combo damage has been identified, and this issue is scheduled to be corrected in a future update. And then during heat, down back 1+3 and 2+4, fix an issue where the opponent's ability to act after being hit was delayed by 1 frame longer than intended. Okay, interesting. Okay, Lars. Wow, actually, Lars got quite a few changes here. So dynamic entry 2, damage changed from 19 to 17. So it looks like all of these are nerfs. Silent entry 4, damage changed from 23 to 19. Wow, that's significant. Down back 2 and 3 to charge. I kind of like that move. I remember using that move. Yeah, so okay. That's not really a nerf. It's just kind of like cross. So we'll skip that one. All right, so during limited entry 1, changed the opponent's behavior on hit and adjusted the frame advantage that's crazy, from +26 to +4. I'm gonna have to go in the lab to see what the hell move that is, because I'm not a Lars main. But yeah, that's crazy. Changed the opponent's behavior on hit and adjusted the frame advantage from +26. Wow, that's crazy. All right, anyway, moving on. So down forward 1-1, hold down, fix an issue where the heat timer would not recover when transitioning into DE during heat. And his running 1 attack, fix an issue where the heat timer would not recover. Okay, so it's basically the same thing as the last one. Down forward 3 and hold down. Fix an issue where inputting down forward 3 and holding down 2, then both punches would unintentionally cause during DE 1+2 to combo after down forward 3 hit. Leo, one significant change here. The consumption of remaining heat has been changed from 120 to now 240. Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. So to address inconsistency in heat timer consumption when returning to a standing position during lightning glare, forward 2, 2, 4, 3, the heat timer was reduced by 240, whereas transitioning into full boo with during lightning glare, forward 2, 4, 3, holding down only consumed Okay, so they changed that. Okay, so basically it's like where one variant would cause this amount of heat reduction, but you could do the other variation that would, yeah, so they just made it all like instead of one giving you $5, the other one's going to giving you 10. Now they're both giving you $5. Basically, that's what that is. Slap reversal from Nina. This action was originally intended to be performed only by certain characters, but it was unintentionally available to all characters, so it has been fixed. Okay. I think that's where, like, if she slaps you, then the female characters could slap her back, so maybe the male characters were slapping her. I don't know. I kind of missed that. I didn't catch that. All right, so Paul. Oh, I'm surprised Paul isn't rounding this out. Okay, so there's other characters after. So Paul, so the stagger wall thing, we're not going to cover that. Fix an issue, because forward two, fix an issue where the amount of recoverable gauge restored was lower than intended when transitioning into deep dive, just holding diagonal down forward during heat activation. Okay. Okay, and these are behavior changes, so nothing really significant. Fix an issue where performing specific inputs after forcing the opponent to block would result in guaranteed follow attacks. Oh yeah, okay. I did see a video about that actually earlier today, and that was wild that was even a thing. So, well, that's gone. So you Paul mains that was enjoying whoring that out on your poor opponents online, y'all gonna have to earn y'all wins this time. So Reina, okay, same thing with the wall situation, but down to both punches. Fix an issue where incorrect damage scaling on airborne hits was causing higher than intended combo damage. Okay, I'm glad they fixed that. Shaheen, down forward 1-3. I think that's it. Yeah, no, oh yeah, during the stealth step. Yeah. I actually usually people use that as a combo ender. Fix an issue where heat dash could be triggered on whiff under certain conditions. Okay, that was crazy. Down one. Change the opponent's behavior on hit to make them stand up facing forward. This change was made because the long period of unrecoverable time allowed for unblockable situations. Okay, so basically a behavioral situation. No nerf or buffs here. Same thing with Xiao Yu. Okay, so the wall thing, okay, that's gone for everybody here. The rest are just balance of behavior changes. So let's jump out of here and read the rest of this article, see what else we got. Scrolling on down. All right, so bug fixes. I guess it's the last part. Fix an issue on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S where setting VSync to off would internally revert to on after restarting the game. Fix an issue where it was possible to modify individual settings under tournament settings for default and presets 1 through 3. If you wish to customize individual settings, please change set all to custom. Fix an issue where the VSync setting under graphics settings was linked to the one under tournament settings, which could unintentionally change the tournament preset to custom. When tournament settings is set to on, the VSync setting under tournament settings will take priority. When tournament settings is on, the VSync option under graphics settings will be grayed out and cannot be changed. To modify VSync option under graphics settings, please turn tournament settings to off. I think overall, this is pretty cool. You can't please everybody. I do appreciate that for better or worse, that Namco has decided to make these types of patches, even though I'm well aware that the only reason, in my opinion, that this patch even happened is because of the backlash that Namco has been facing, as I said in my prior video. Had that backlash not been a thing, I'm 90% sure that this patch would not be a thing. So I think this patch happened due to the community outrage based on all of the nonsensical things that happened. Now, they might have made, actually, no correction. They might have made this patch to address the bug fixes, but the other more move specific, I don't think that they would have changed it if the community did not actually make their voice heard. But let me know what you think on that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm off. But yeah, so I definitely look forward to that other patch that they have coming up for, I think it's May, around the Tekken World Tour. I believe it's May 9th. So I'm looking forward to that. But you know what? I'm not backing away from my stance in saying that this game is targeted for casuals in mind. Being a casual per se is not inherently a bad thing. We were all casuals at one point, but I think they wanted to do this to open the game to more players. As I said in prior videos, my main issue with Tekken 8, regardless of season 1 or season 2, is just Tekken 8 in general, is the comeback mechanics itself. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. This was actually my very first time doing an actual, like a patch reveal like this, you know. I felt like I channeled my inner main man, or maybe a Mike Hollow, or, you know, FiddyX, you know, all these larger guys that do these patch note reveals. So I felt I could have probably did a little bit better. But anyway, judge what you think. This is my first time. Won't be my last time. I'll cover the next patch. Hopefully I'll do a better job. But anyway, I'm gonna upload it, think up a thumbnail and title and all that other SEO nonsense. Anyway, take care. Peace.